What's going on? So what we're gonna do is go through like a training on why timing your working on yourself is impossible to do. And reason I say that is because I hear this excuse a lot, right? It's a common excuse. It's something that women typically lean on is, oh, I'll reach out when things, X, Y, and Z. So we're going to dive into this today. If you don't know who I am, my name is Megan. I am the CEO and founder of Valkyrie Fitness and Nutrition. I help women who are shift workers. So this can be anywhere from firefighters, law enforcement, women that are in construction, women in male dominated professions, women that are working 12 plus hour shifts who basically need a system that has worked time and time again. Now we've done this, close to 1,000 times with women in all different professions. And what we found is, typically after getting on so many calls and talking to so many women through Messenger, face to face, whatever it might be, this is something that comes up a lot. I'm going to break down, why, this isn't the best thing to keep telling yourself and, what you should actually start doing, right? So let's kind of dive in. So common excuse, right? I will get started when life slows down. I'll start when the kids go back to school. I'll start when I have more time for me. I'll start when the holidays are over, right? We are just getting done. It's December 27th as I'm filming this. I'll start when I stop working so much. Now, if you're watching this video and one of those kind of relate to you, drop it in the comments below. But ultimately, we find is there are a lot of common excuses on wanting to work on yourself but not having the right amount of time to do it, right? You can't keep using that. And let's go a little backstory on myself, right? So recently, since October of this year, I have not had access to a gym. I lived in an RV full time, so a little backstory on me. Lived in an RV for 3.5 years. Prior to that, right, lived and did working 12-hour shifts in law enforcement. I rotated every 2 weeks from day shift to night shift. Put in a ton of overtime. Would work up to like 80-hour weeks. So I understand what it's like to not have time for yourself. And recently, right, we just bought a house. We moved from the RV to a home. Been doing a lot of stuff there. Had family come in, holiday season, all that stuff. And guess what? Like I could use the excuse of like not having time for myself or letting things go just because things got hectic. We did a lot of eating out, all that stuff. But at the same time, right, once you learn these systems, once you learn the processes that we teach our clients inside of my program, things like that don't matter, right? I don't gain weight when the holidays come. I don't gain weight when things get hectic. I don't use that as an excuse for not having time. I just alter the way my life looks in order to maintain my weight. So let's dive in, right? So past clients who have been successful, I guess you can always check out my YouTube a little bit more if you guys want. I'm going to talk about Morgan. I just interviewed her the other day, right? I just uploaded this today. I'm going to talk about Dominique and I'm talking about Megan. I like to try to do as updated new stuff as possible because every week I'm getting on calls with clients who are getting finished. So I typically get like 3 to 5 new interviews each week. So again, like this is something we have, anywhere from 150 to 200 women inside of the program at any given time. And everyone has a busy life. Like, you know what I mean? So just that's why I'm going to dive into a couple of these clients, go through some case studies with you. So Dominique, for instance, we'll use her as an example to start. She is in EMS and she also has 2 jobs. Don't believe me? Watch the interview. She's going to go into it. Again, you could just go right onto the page, start watching a bunch of these interviews. She has 2 jobs on top of that. So when she came to us, she is busy, right? And she didn't use actually time as an excuse. She used the fact that she just couldn't figure things out. She was plateauing. She couldn't lose any more weight. She actually didn't understand how to connect the dots on things. She has been a gym rat her whole life. She kind of mentions that in the video. And she's been doing all the things, but something wasn't clicking. So for her, her timing was like, hey, I just can't figure this out. Even though like with all this stuff going on, all these jobs, I'm not even kidding you, I had to like cut out a little piece on her interview because her think it was her dad or something walked in and was like, hey, like asking her a bunch of questions. So when you want to talk about someone that has a full house, she was like, working full, she was worked that night and then woke up to do the interview with me and go over her next step. So she was someone that barely sleeps, barely has time for herself. Literally felt like she was like, I can't even get 5 minutes to myself. So for her, she stopped using that timing excuse and she wanted to like actually reach a new level within her fitness journey. So she hired us because she was like, I just don't know what to do. So when it comes to saying that you don't have enough time, there will always be somebody else out there that has more going on, has a lot of things to be doing. She was taking care of her grandmother, running around, working night shift, working other days where she's awake, you know what I mean? So there's always somebody else out there that is willing to not use time as the excuse and then actually putting in the effort. So we'll dive into Morgan. She is active duty. She is a student, and she even said it too. She was like, same issue, plateaued, got stuck. There was no good time, right? Because she's going back to school. She's active duty. She was being like, put on different jobs throughout the week. Her schedule was constantly changing. And instead of using, oh, this isn't a good time, she lost 30 pounds with us. And, she's down to a 29-inch waist. And she went from a 35 to a 29-inch waist. So she, again, realized there's no perfect time, especially with her lifestyle, with her job. Got to get it done. She just got finished a few days ago. And same thing, right? She's walking into the new year, not using timing as an excuse for why she can't get started somewhere. And we'll talk about Megan. She is a canine officer, canine on call. So for her, the biggest issue was it's not like she didn't want to work out and things like that. She just couldn't figure out how to manage her schedule on top of her fitness goals because she was going to CrossFit and it just felt like she would start, fall off. So again, she was like, there's no perfect time for her because she's always going to be on call. She's always going to be going, to different jobs, and she's always going to have a weird schedule based on her profession. So if she kept waiting to get started, and that's what she kept saying, I was like waiting and hoping that I could figure it out on my own. I just couldn't. So we set her up. We gave her time management help. We gave her a program where she could do it at home with what she had available to her. She didn't have to go anywhere. On top of that, her main focus was body composition and strength, and that's exactly what she accomplished. So again, we want to avoid the common excuses, right? All of these things. When I stopped working so much, when the holidays were over, because this is what we find for most people that use that timing. It's not a good time. It's not a good time. Can you reach back out when things slow down for me? What I find is that never happens, right? The same thing happens to me, right? I just mentioned, right? There's been 3 months of no gym, but I'm not using, this isn't a good time for me. I'm still going to do other things in order to get better. I've learned all those skills. I've learned all the frameworks. And if you're not willing to do something when life gets crazy, we have another client. I think it was, I don't know. That was one of my other most recent interviews. She was she working full time as a teacher, I believe, and then she was also going for her PhD. So again, I think she was also getting married in the process too. So many things were going on, and she was like, honestly, if I didn't have the structure, the accountability when my life was the most hectic, I wouldn't have been so successful. And she showed up to her wedding. I got tons of compliments on, how her back looked in her dress. So she could have been like, oh, well, my life's too busy. Like, I'm going to school. I'm planning my wedding. I have all this stuff stacked against me. Instead of like using that as like, oh, well, I'll just do it after all that stuff's done. She decided, I'm going to do it when things are the hardest, because this is what we find, right? And this is where it comes down, like what you should do. Let's copy this and slide it down. What you should actually do is focus on how to improve when life is the hardest. And the reason I say that is because I can't tell you how many women get done with us and they're like, wow, I'm super grateful that we had someone in my back pocket checking in with me, making sure I'm doing what I'm doing, following up with me when I had a ton of things going on. Because That's what you should really start to understand is think about coaching, right? If you go through any type of coaching or training or something like that, right, they're trying to help you overcome the hardest issues that you can possibly go through, right? So that's the point of getting through your fitness journey. Most people have a mindset, right, that needs to be shifted. And it needs to be shifted in a way where you understand that nothing is perfect, right? And that's where most people get caught up, is they want to wait until everything is perfect, but nothing is perfect. Think about it. Look, like, here's a good thing you guys can do, like, if you're watching this video and you want to just take a step back, especially because it's the end of the year. So you can break out a journal or a notebook, and I want you to kind of go through your months, like last January, last February, last March, right? Line up all of the months and just sit with yourself. And I want you to like go through your entire year and see for you, like what was going on. If you have an old calendar on your phone, look at what was scheduled and just ask yourself, was there actually a time during my year where I wasn't doing something? And 9 times out of 10, you probably were doing a ton, right? Maybe you like this time you were like, I did like 160 OT hours. And maybe here, like, you were like, oh, well, like I went away, right? Went on like a 2-week vacation, right? Maybe here, March was like 6 birthdays, right? And then so on and so forth. And then you have like the summer where you're like June, July. You might have birthdays. You might be going on vacation. Like, I can't spell. You might be like realizing when you add up all the weeks. I don't know if you guys, let me just pause this real quick. All right, like if you look at it, right, you only have 365 days out of the year, right? When you look at it and you're like, dang, okay, well, I actually really don't have that much time. And I tell that with clients all the time when they join the program is, you know, the time with us goes by really fast. And that's normally what they say when they get on their next steps calls with me or have their interview with me. So sit down with yourself, like write in a notebook what your year kind of consisted of. I mean, there's a million of those year, you can buy them on Amazon. It's like a whole year calendar. Like you can look and gray out like when you were busy, when you worked. And then if you actually look at it, you're going to realize that 1, life is going to go by really fast. 2, you don't have, there has not been a stretch of time where you just went to work, went home, you know, did nothing, didn't work overtime, did have like, you know, days and days and days to get stuff done. So what you should actually do is 1, this, and then 2, ask yourself, right? Ask yourself, am I ready for change? And that's a hard question for a lot of people to ask themselves because most people are not ready for change. And that's why they keep using the time excuse. When we have clients come through, and again, watch some of those interviews, and they are successful, it's because they were ready for change. They decided that what they were doing was not working. The past excuses that they kept using no longer served what they wanted to achieve. So you have to come to terms with, if you're using time as an excuse, I want you to understand the time, you can't get it back, right? It's gone. It's gone forever, right? So, gone forever. So, as this year goes by, right, it's completely done. You'll never live in 2025 ever again. So, all you can do is move forward. So, unfortunately, what most women do, and I don't know if you ever seen one of those videos where, you know, a woman progressively gets older. There was like a video from I don't know, it was like a clip from like a show or something, and a woman got to her birthday, and it was, I think, like 50 years old, and she started crying on her birthday because she realized she never did all the things that she wanted to accomplish, or she kept saying, oh, next year I will do X, Y, and Z. And then what happens, right? We use things like this, things pop up, and progressively you just get older and you keep putting off your goals or your health, which is probably the worst thing you could ever do, because once you reach an older age, that's it. You can't reverse time. You can't go back and fix all your health issues. You can be, you can either be proactive or reactive, right? And for anyone who's in law enforcement, you understand that, right? There are departments who are proactive. They try to go out, they try to, get crime or, prevent anything that they possibly can. And then there's departments that are so busy that they can only be reactive, right? Think about like New York City. They don't have time to be proactive. They're just bouncing to call to call to call. So it's kind of the same situation where you can be proactive with your health and how your body composition looks, how your confidence is feeling. And that will bleed over year after year after year into like how you're feeling, your confidence levels, like your health, going to the doctor and them going, oh, nothing's wrong, everything looks good. Or what happens is, right, people keep pushing it off. Oh, well, I know the doctor told me X, Y, and Z last month. Whatever, I'll take care of it later. And then what happens? You're on medication a few months later. Or, I noticed that last time I had to run or climb upstairs, I didn't feel the best, or I had to chase somebody, or I had to fight somebody and I feel good. Well, I'll do something to help prevent that in the future, just not right now. And what happens? Something will happen down the road. I have family photos coming up or a cruise. Oh, well, I'll just push it off later. And then you get onto that cruise and you don't want to like enjoy anything or go in your bathing suit or wear shorts because you don't feel confident. You are losing days, weeks, months, years of your life hiding instead of actively doing things. So the next time you start using this, right, trying to time working on yourself, I want you to think of all the things you might miss out on or all the things that will or could happen in the future if you don't do it now. The only time you guys have is now. You can't go back, right? You can't go to the past. So just want you to think about that. Think about your future self, right? That's what I'm trying to constantly think of. It's hard to do because it's so easy to get caught up in like remembering past things. Sometimes it's hard to think of your future. But start putting yourself in that version of yourself's shoes. And then something else I read today was like, if you lived in like someone you love the most, right? Love the most, like their body for 1 year, how would you return it to them? Like, think about that. If you had to switch places with someone that you care for, whether it's your mom, your spouse, your kids, and you had to live in their body for a year, still doing the same thing, still functioning the same way, and at the end of the year, you had to return their body back to them. Like, how would you guys feel at the end of that year? Would you feel like you did a good job? Do you feel like what you're currently doing isn't working? And if you switched bodies with someone, you would be like, wow, this is a kind of like, an eye opener. Because if that's the case, you need to start changing your why. Because a lot of times how you're treating yourself and your body is also affecting your loved ones too, whether you realize it or not. All right. So at the end of this video, again, if you're ready for real help, you're ready for some change, you're ready to start the year off the right way, or maybe you're watching this later in the year and you're just seeing it, you can text me at 850-905-0772. Text the word coach. This is for people who are serious. Like, don't text me the word coach and then you're just like, oh, well, I'm thinking about it. Or I don't know. Like, I don't know if I'm ready to change yet. This is only for people who actually want help. Because what we find is most people aren't ready and they're not willing to, mentally, physically, financially, emotionally start investing into their future self. And this is what we want. We want people who are ready to rock and roll. And it's like a no-brainer for them. So, if you're still on the fence, go through all those videos I talked about. There's probably more on my page after posting this video. So dive in and don't use time as an excuse anymore, or timing when to actually work on yourself. There's no such thing. You'll look back years down the road and be, dang, I wish I started this sooner. So again, my name is Megan, and like I said, text me if you're ready to rock and roll.